Hi, I'm Suneera and I'm a mom of two, a daughter of an immigrant, and an unlikely entrepreneur who went from scaling an idea to $1 billion business. Yes, $1 billion business. Along the way, I learned that less than 2% of female founders ever hit 1 million in revenue, and I became obsessed on a mission to change that. I believe that there is so much gatekeeping in business knowledge, and that we as female entrepreneurs should be learning from other female founders and leaders who have broken the statistics. Since I never went to CEO school, I've had to learn it all the hard way, but you shouldn't have to, because we believe that you deserve to have it all. And honestly, nothing bad happens when women make more money. Grab a seat because class is officially in session. Welcome to CEO School. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the CEO School podcast. I'm your host, Suneera, and we are just getting right to it. I'm with a woman who needs absolutely no introduction. I have Arlan Hamilton here, my dear friend, venture capitalist, best-selling author. I can literally name all the things. I will just link her giant bio in the show notes, but she needs absolutely no introduction. But one of the favorite titles that she wears for me is a friend. And I literally was she just walked into the studio here where we were set up here at the ROI Summit in Puerto Rico. And we're going to be judging the Schmilly tank tomorrow together, which it actually originated last year. So we'll tell that story of how that originated. But Arlan and I were I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. Her whole family's here. I love her whole family. And we're starting to play catch up, and there was too much real stuff happening. So I'm like, let's just turn the camera on and let's go. You guys if you've been living under a rock and you don't know Arlan Hamilton, please get off the show and don't come back. No. I'm just kidding. I would never say that.
Please come back.
Please come back. Please come back. But get to know Arlan. Arlan is so incredible. She is one of the most inspiring Black women, just women in general, that I know. She stands for so much that we all stand for at CEO School. There's a value system here that I love that we just equally share. And we also have the love of the Dallas Mavericks together. Yeah. So we've got a lot in common. But Arlan is here, and I'm just excited to catch up. So I'll actually link in the show notes all the things that we talk about. She just launched her book. There's a conference. I'll be speaking at Arlan's conference, Your First Million. Your First Million. The book is out as well. We're here. She's speaking everywhere. She's literally got a giant entourage with her. You cannot even fully see it on set, but this woman literally walks around with a camera.
My family.
It's your no, but it's awesome. It's so awesome to see you as a star as well. So I'll be linking all of that, and she's been on the show many times, and so we'll link all of that in the show notes as well. But hi, Arlan, welcome, friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm so happy to see you. You look amazing.
Thank you. You do too.
Thank you. What's been happening? So first thing you said, you're like, it's busy.
It's busy. I was going to say billion looks good on you.
Oh, thank you.
Because that's what you're going to be, right? No one can ever take that away from you, right? That's just something most people can never achieve or attain. And you've seen it. You've seen what that is. You built it with your own hands. And so I just think it's like being a doctor or something. It's like something no one can ever take no matter what.
No, I appreciate that reminder, and you're so always sweet to put me, give me that love. And it is amazing. And honestly, it's you forget, I feel like no matter how much success you have, what's really interesting about just being ambitious and you hit a milestone and then it almost quickly disappears, and you're like, here's the next milestone that you're ready to achieve. But beyond, I think there was a lot of lessons that I learned in building my first $1 billion business.
My first $1 billion.
Well, you know what? I'm on to building the next one.
Love it.
And this time going for a decacorn. So, but we'll do that on your show this next time. Okay. So I know we're going to be meeting in LA talking about all the things, but today's about you. Okay. Today's about you. So tell me all the things. My friend says she's really busy. She says that she's never met anyone who's busier than herself. And I truly will say that there's not a lot of women that can do all the things. What's happening this year? Because you're this year's just...
I used to say I don't know anyone who's busier than I am. And that's not a badge of honor. It's just a thing, right? But this year, it's only a few days in. But my goodness, it's just kind of taken a new level. And it's because I wanted it to. I wanted to go after, like you said, bigger, better, brighter things. But to do that, there's a lot to manage. Mm-hmm. And so I still do what I always did, which is make sure that at least one day a week I'm doing nothing.
Oh, I love that.
Nothing, right? And I also think about it in sprints. So the reason I can do this at this level is like, I know I'm going to the event, essentially, like the event, and then we'll take a little bit of a break after, like a week, like 2 weeks after, and then we'll get back going, because you can't do this all year.
You can't. I love that and I would say, like, and that's what I do feel like, the more successful you become, like, honestly, the busier you get, because the opportunities also flow in a different direction as well. I have those conversations every day with my team, with my spouse, with my, like, why I'm doing all the things after getting to, like, I don't have to do anything. But I do feel like, especially for those, I mean, I'm first generation immigrant. Your story is so incredible of how, you stand for so much for underrepresented founders. Like, we don't just take that opportunity for granted, and we seize opportunity. And so it becomes really hard, and you become successful, but then there's more opportunities. Like, success breeds success. So I'm not surprised that this year is your busiest yet. And I will also tell you that I guarantee you next year when we catch up on the show, you'll be like, Suneera, this is the year. Because now you're going to get your first conference under the belt, the second book out of the way. And then there's going to be the TV show next, the this next, the that next, because success just breeds success.
And it's important to not take every single opportunity that comes at you.
Yes.
That's something that I learned from a few people before before it got really crazy.
But it's hard. It's hard to say no.
It is, but it's important strategically that you say yes to very specific things, and you may get it wrong and be okay with that. Yeah. And like, it's that FOMO thing. Like, I don't trade in FOMO. I just don't know how to do it because it's like, I'm like, wherever I am, that's where the party is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's so funny. I think, we were at South by.
Wherever I am, that's where the party is. I like that.
We spoke at South by together, right?
Yes.
And at South by, it's like, 100,000 plus people. There's something going on every second of every minute of every day. And no matter what you're doing, you could be doing the coolest thing. Somebody's tweeting or texting you. There's some other cool thing happening. Mm-hmm. There's this VIP, but then when you get to the VIP, there's a VVIP. There's always some level, right? Yeah. And so I just decided a few years ago, wherever I am, that is the best place to be. And I think that for everybody, we should think that if you're sitting at home right now and like, you're just chilling, you're listening, you're learning, you're getting ready for work, whatever it is, taking care of family, that's the best party in town.
I love that. What a great reminder. And with that, you're still super busy, but you said you take that time every week. That's something that, I would say that's the right people around you will also teach you that. And it's taken me so many years to understand why it's important. And finally, Fridays are my day. That's the day. And if it's, if it's not the whole day and something has to come up, but I try so hard to protect all of that time, right? But Fridays are my day where that's my absolute, like, my creative day. I could do whatever I feel like day. Mm-hmm. So if it's a veg out day, if it's, taking care of all my errands because I didn't get time to do it, or if it's a creative day, or if I want to come into the studio because I feel like it, it's my whatever I feel like day.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And what's your day?
Oh, I'm just, usually I hope that I'm at home when that day comes around. Mm-hmm. And so I'll just watch TV, catch up on General Hospital because it's every weekday. So I have to catch up on it. I'll hang with my wife. We love watching movies and we love just talking and catching up because we're both so busy and like just nothing. Just nothing. Like the most mundane thing. But it helps me reset and then I'm just ready to go.
Oh my God, that's like every weekend. So sorry, that was my one day. I see in my mind, all I think about is work. So I'm even like Monday through Friday. I'm like, oh yeah, my one day is Friday that I don't get to work. But weekend time, Arlan, like I literally need, like I can go all week long, go from event to whatever, fly city to city, be on camera, put on the show. Mm-hmm. But the second it's like Friday night, like when I'm home with my kids, until I need a full pajama day. So the girls and I will literally do pajama day where we will like wake up and try not to get out of our pajamas. Yeah. And so, but I'm an introvert. So I don't know if you actually know this about me. Have we talked about this? No. So I'm an introverted extrovert. So I can definitely give the extrovert energy. But my love language is quality time. I need that one-on-one stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm an intimate setting girl. And when I give all this energy, I need to veg out. So like my thing is Suits right now. So I'm like literally binge watching. I binge watch like all of like Ugly Betty and Suits. Yeah. I do love Suits too. Yeah. You know this, yes. No, but Suits the show.
You should have a line. Do you have a line of Suits?
I don't have a line of suits.
You should have a line of suits for women.
I support some amazing female founder brands. Shout out to Dust to Dust and Argent and some others that I religiously wear. But girl, I don't got time to start a suit brand.
Well, at least partner with them. They do everything, and it's your style.
I would love to do a bigger collaboration on a suit line. But yeah, I wear a lot of colored suits. And I've been wearing them for years and years and years. Okay, going back to...
You heard it here first, folks.
Yes, no, Arlan's idea. Arlan always pushes me to just keep going, keep doing. We haven't even caught up on, and we can't do it on the show right now. We're going to do it afterwards on the next the tech venture that we're back at it. Sal and I are back at it. We're just grinding away, building the team. We've been building in stealth for the last 6 months. We're going to announce the company in March, so probably this month when the episode airs. I don't know exactly where it's airing, so we'll have those conversations later on today. While we're offline.
Yeah.
But we want there's no gatekeeping. I just publicly I'm not talking about it right now.
Yeah,
but there's
legal stuff. There's all kinds of stuff.
There's no gatekeeping here. Arlan, what is happening in your world? You just launched another one, a best-selling book. Another one.
Yeah. It's called Your First Million. Yes. I just launched it January 1st. Yeah. It's about damn time in 2020. Yeah. I think right when people needed it. It was about resilience and grit and perseverance.
One of my favorite books.
Thank you. And it had humor to it too. Yeah. It had all kinds of stuff to it.
I really felt I got to know you in that book.
Yeah. That's what I was hoping for. Thank you. Yeah. And people really reacted to it well. So I was told I could write about whatever I wanted on the next book. And so I got a book deal for the second book. Both of them were a book deal. And on this one, I was like, you know what? I want to help create 1,000 millionaires in the next decade. And this book is the kickoff.
You can do, I feel like you're already creating over 1,000.
Yeah, I want to do, so I hear people say, I want to do 1,000, I want to do 1 million millionaires.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is I want to really be the reason, the kickoff point, and track it.
Ooh.
So to be able to look back and say that 1,000 millionaires started from the learnings and the book and the event that we're doing together, all of that, we're going to track it. And people who reach that status will go across the stage each year at Your First Million Live.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so tell us about Your First Million in the book.
The book. So the event as well, or just
both?
The book?
Both. Let's start with the book because I want to link it to the show notes and get everyone to get their copies. So tell us first about this book.
Yeah. So the book is meant to be a guide, like a blueprint for people. Whether you're just getting started, you're working for someone else, you don't, can't rub two pennies together because that's where I was just a few years ago, or you may be on your way. You may be at 5 or 6 figures already. And you need that extra push. And you also need why are we doing this? What is this about? Is it about material things? Is it about buying the next thing, the shiny object? Or is there a movement and a community that's being built? And I think the mindset shift is what I spent about 1/3 of the book on. I kick off the book by telling how I went from being homeless to buying Janet Jackson's prized truck at auction, and tell that story to kind of tell you where you can go from to. And then, I might have a book in the future called Your Next Million. We'll see. But it's really meant to just kind of get everyone in that mindset of, oh, that can be me. This isn't a story about somebody else. This can be me. I can be part of that 1,000. And maybe it'll be more, I think
100%.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot more.
It's getting a really good reaction. I was surprised, to be honest, by people are walking up to me.
Why are you surprised, Arlan? Come on, let's
I don't
talk.
know, because it's not exactly like the first book, where the first book was a lot of anecdotes and a lot of it's kind of entertaining as well as educational. This one's more we're about to get this paper and we're going to start a movement.
I like it.
And so, a lot of people
can be both. I want the stories and I want to get shit done.
So for the fact that people are coming up to me at my book stops and in tears, or they're just riled up and they're just I already read the book, read it in 6 hours, read it, listened to it in 6 hours, read it overnight, and I'm ready. It's me. I didn't think I could do this, but now I believe. Like that is everything. And that's only a few weeks in.
Oh my goodness. It's literally 2 weeks in.
Yes.
Congratulations on the launch. And then you're touring everywhere. So tell me about the book tour.
Yeah, so we've been to we kicked off in New York. Okay, let me tell you about New York real quick.
Yeah, tell me everything.
So we started in New York just because there, we want to do a few things there. And we had a great book stop itself. It was amazing. Then I also was on ABC News Prime. So it was like broadcast across the country digitally. Then we walk into the New York Stock Exchange because I'm supposed to do an interview there. By the way, I want to get you on the same place that I did this. I'm sure you've already done it, but I'm supposed to do an interview there. And then we walk in and every single screen at the New York Stock Exchange has Backstage Capital, my venture fund, the logo emblazoned across it.
Love it.
And people are like asking me, did you pay for that or what? I'm like, I had no idea it was going to happen. And the funny thing is, like, they had a lot of stuff going on that day. It wasn't like they didn't have to do that. But they were like, we're celebrating your book launch and we're celebrating the work you've done. And they just had it up there for like an hour. And we just, of course, took every picture we could. And it was just a moment.
Love that. I felt like I was part of that moment from afar. I watched you online and I was screaming for it. I mean, as a friend, I'm also an investor in Backstage Capital and all the things. And like, it is so awesome to see that. Like at the New York Stock Exchange, the White Exchange. Oh my God.
The New York White Exchange. Actually very accurate.
Oh my goodness.
Really accurate.
I don't even know if we should keep it in here, but we're not kidding. I accidentally just said the New York White Exchange. Okay.
It's very true.
It's very true. It's very systematic.
It's very male too.
It is super male.
Really male.
Pale, male, and stale is the New York Stock Exchange. So we'll say that correctly. My brain is so funny. Okay. But yeah, and when I saw your face there and all of the love that you were getting, it is about damn time. It's like all the things. It is about damn time that we see women like you up there. And it was a super, super proud friend moment. And I'm really happy. Like, it's really awesome.
Thank you.
And I felt your true, genuine, like, this surprise.
Yeah.
And that's fun. Yeah. There's not a lot of things that surprise us anymore at this stage.
It's so true. Like, or that impress, or, it is, because there's just so much coming at us. I remember watching like Quinta Brunson do her interview with Oprah, and she was just so calm. And I think most people are like, oh, she's not appreciative. It's like, she has so much happening for her all at once. How could she in life take all that? And understand it and process it. I think what's going to happen is, like, I've always been like maybe 6 to 12 months behind of like, oh, that happened. I can't believe that happened.
I think it does. And that's what happens for me too sometimes. Like, I definitely do like freak out in moments like right after or before. But I think that the true reflection like sets in later where you're like, wow, that actually happened. Yeah. And then it's also easy for us to like not make things a big deal. Right. And like we downplay things no matter what, no matter how cool it is, whatever it is, like we will not make it a big deal because it's us and we're like used to doing that for ourselves. So like for the women that, and for those that are listening, like we tend to do that for ourselves for everything. But even at the most successful level, we tend to do that. We downplay all of the wins, all of the successes, all of these, we downplay it. But it's why it's important to surround yourself with awesome people and awesome women, because what did you just reminded me that I'm a $1 billion CEO. Right?
If it were me, let me just say if it were me, like I used to say this to Toni Braxton when I was working for her, I would sing all day, every day, no matter what. I would never speak if I could sing, right? So if I had a $1 billion company, you would not be able to talk to me without me starting that. Like,
the people that go to Harvard.
They would say, yes, what would you like for lunch, ma'am? Well, as a $1 billion founder, I would like the salmon. Oh my That's goodness. How it would be every single day. You couldn't shut me up about it.
I love it. And you say that, right? You say that, but then you say that, but that's what's so great. And that's why I wanted to remind her, it's important to like, the company, you are the company you keep, and that is important because your friends and the right people around you, it's important. We need that. We need that confidence around us because that's what actually builds our confidence is the people that are around us. So thank you for that reminder. And I'm so glad it was such an awesome, magical moment.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, so book happened. I mean, the New York Stock Exchange celebrated. Everyone's celebrating. It's only 2 weeks in, but now you're planning your first Million Live, the conference. Tell us everything.
Oh my goodness. So Your first million, I mean, there has to be a place for us to convene, right? If we're starting this movement. So I decided I'm going to do my first large scale event. There will be up to 4,000 people there.
Large scale. That is like extra, super size large scale.
So here's a really cool part. I don't know if you saw the Emmys or not, but this is happening where the Emmys are held. And so I watched the Emmys the other night and I was like, wow, that's a lot of seats. So I'm just standing in front of those seats a lot. But also I was so proud because I mean, and then I wanted it to be like this elevated experience for everybody, no matter what kind of ticket you have. And so that theater is just beautiful. That theater is just so beautiful. And it's just going to be amazing. So we have you said yes to speaking, which is amazing.
I will be there and I'm going to be there. When I say yes to things, like I genuinely am saying yes in this phase in my life. And I'm so excited to be.
Yeah. You got to be there from April 9th through the 12th because we have some surprises for speakers too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I will be there for you.
That's amazing. And then if anybody from your group wants to join us, if they type in the word Suneera.
Okay. Let's do CEO school.
CEO school?
Yeah, let's do CEO school. Might be an easier spell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then they'll get a deep discount because they're friends of yours.
Thank you.
CEO
okay. Well,
school.
I will be there and I want everybody to come. We all need to be millionaires. Like this is where this is our vibe. This is what it's about. Who else is coming?
So
Gary's coming.
Gary V will be there. Yes. He said yes first, I think. He said yes really fast. We have Rich Paul, who's LeBron's agent and Adele's husband, but more importantly, what he does, his work. But I'm still freaking out about that. Then we have, who else do we have? We have Dean Forbes, who is a Black man who used to be homeless himself in the UK. Now he's over a multi-billion-dollar company. He has an incredible story. So he's flying all the way from England to be part of it and spending the whole time there. We have Rachel Rogers, who's doing this event. Okay, Issa Rae.
I know. I saw. I'm such a huge fan of hers.
Yeah.
We have to I want to meet her.
You will meet her.
Okay. I really want to meet her.
You will meet her. So she.
We should bring her on the show.
She's doing an evening with Issa Rae. So it's gonna be a very special moment on April 10th at the Peacock Theater, an evening with, and then on April 11th we'll have the entire programming. So it'll be back to back, just like.
It's a
gems.
big event. Like I will say, as your first conference girl, you know how to
big.
Yeah. You usually I have not done a conference yet. Every year I promise my audience we're gonna do a conference. Yeah. I say I'm gonna do it, and then I'm like, oh my god, this is so much work.
Yeah.
And then you really have to carve out all your time to promote your first conference. And so with all the other things, they always take precedence from it just requires a lot of time, especially getting the first one off the ground. Anytime that you embark on any new here's the first of something, it's going to be the hardest.
Yes.
It's going to be the most amount of work. It's going to take the stuff off you have a lot to do. And whatever you estimate, you need to double or triple the cost.
Double that.
Yeah. And then triple the time too.
Yep. And I've been told by people who put on big events that there's always going to be this Black Swan event that happens right before. So I'm preparing myself. So something is going to go wrong. I hope it's not, this is not wood, but I hope it's not too bad. But there's something. So I'm okay, am I going to lose a vendor? I'm going to, it's the weather is going to be crazy or something.
It's going to be great.
Something's going to happen, but I'm just prepared for that. I also should mention that Mrs. Sheila Johnson will be there. The first Black woman billionaire in the country.
Wow.
Co-founder of BET will be speaking at your first million. And okay, you ready for this?
Yes.
Who's closing it out with a full-scale arena level music performance? TLC.
Oh my goodness. This is
Did you not know that? You know that?
I didn't know that. Okay, but you are literally how are you pulling this off? Truly, this is, and then you weren't just when I say you're literally go big, go home.
Yeah.
So usually the first level, even when I was I'm gonna do the conference this next year, I was 250 women.
Yeah.
300 women I'm happy with as our first level. 500 everyone's pushing we can do more, let's get to 1,000. No, under 500 I feel comfortable with. Let's do that, let's sell out, and I'm happy with that. And here you are, and the amount of work that it'll take for a 500 person conference, and you're gonna do 4,000 people and then you're gonna do it over a span of days.
Yeah.
This is monumental.
Yeah. I'll tell you why. A couple of reasons I decided it might help someone.
Yeah.
So first of all, if you have a 300-person event, that's incredible. If you have a 500, 1,000-person event, absolutely incredible. And I would be proud to have that. For me, because of the work that I do with Backstage Capital, that's every day of my life. And because of the work I do with Hire Runner, which is my recruiting platform, and other things that I'm working on, I thought, I really want to put this event on the map. And it's not something that I want to kind of dip a toe in. Mm-hmm. I want it to be like a major part of what I do. And so I have to like challenge myself. Yeah. And if I can pull that off, right? Remember 10 years ago, I'm like, if I could invest in Black and brown people and women, what would happen?
Yeah.
That's how I thought about it. Now I've invested more than 200 people. So you have to kind of go for it. So this time I was like, everybody was telling me, you have to do a ballroom at a hotel. You have to do 1,000 people or fewer. Like, you can't do this. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, cute. Thank you for the advice. And then I was just like, okay, what's a place that I would be super proud to walk into and say that we had ownership of this? And the Peacock Theater at LA Live, next door to where the Lakers play, where the Emmys are held, I was like, that. So we went to tour it, and I looked around. I got the different numbers of like how many people could be seated.
Yeah.
And different configurations. And I said, this is what I want.
And I want it all. I'm going to take it all.
I want it. I want it because I'm not afraid to fail in public.
Oh.
I'm not afraid to look bad. And I thought, if I can set that standard for myself and we just aim at it and aim beyond it, we're going to go further than most people dare to, because we're just attempting it.
Oh my goodness. I could just, this is everything. It's so true. We were literally I've been having this conversation about failure all day today. We are so afraid to just be bold. Yeah. And because we're so afraid of what people are going to think if we put it out there. And like, if it's 3,000 people, you got 3,000 people there.
100%.
And we have to get comfortable with that.
100%. Like, thankfully we are already close to the 2,000 mark when we still have months out, which is incredible. And so we're going to have up to 4,000. But I saw Tony Robbins had his event, his 60th birthday there. And he had 3,000 people in the audience, and it looked incredible. I was like, that's 3,000? If we get anywhere close to that, that's amazing. But I really do think like every day it gets a little bit like more real for people. And so now in the streets, I'm meeting people and they're like, I'm bringing my whole crew. We're flying in from Baltimore. We're da-da-da-da-da.
It's so accessible too. Like, it's such an accessible conference. Like,
yes,
there's a lot of places, like if you travel, get in the room. Let's just talk about like why it's important to get in the room. I think this is a huge part of like business and life is not done behind a screen. As much as like we share all this content, we consume the content, real connections are made. We met online first. Yeah. So Arlan and I actually first digitally met. However, it wasn't, we like definitely had sparks flying over Zoom,
off,
right? But it wasn't until we met in person that we were just like, oh my God, we literally stand for all the same things.
That's where like deals are made. Yes. That's where like true, okay, I can look you in the eye. That's where things are happening.
Things are happening in person. Yeah. And it's not just about being inspired, it's about action. And you got to get into the room. Like, I really do. I feel like we don't preach enough that you really are the company you keep. And if you want to scale up in whatever you want to scale up in life, then that level of company has to, like, you've got to, either your people are going to grow with you or you're going to outgrow them. And you've got to keep going. If that's been our path. Like, it's not about leaving people behind or letting people, it's about bringing your friends up and bringing them to the conference too.
Yeah.
But get in the room. Yeah. Stop sitting. It's not going to happen behind the screen. Like, you know this. I coach so many women all the time, meet so many entrepreneurs. And recently there's a lot of conversation around, like, I see so many women dabbling in tech, and I love that so much. But they're struggling with getting, the funding off the ground or finding their CTO and all the things. And I'm like, well, when was the last time you went to like a tech meetup?
Yeah.
I was like, exactly. When did you go to the last tech meetup? And they're like, what tech meetup? And I'm like, literally just look up the tech meetups, and you want to build a tech company. You want to go find a CTO. You want to go where the tech people are.
I'll tell you what, when I talk about being homeless a lot because it was a big part of my life. But when we were sleeping out of a hotel in Pearland, Texas in 2013, 14, or 2014, 15, first of all, I found my way to, like, I went to like College Station or somewhere to go to a tech event. Like, I didn't have any money. I just put it together. I figured it out and got there so that I could meet someone. And I actually ended up meeting someone who helped me so much in those early days. And then I said, well, if I'm going to be broke in Texas, I might as well be in Austin. So at least I can show up places. So we moved to Austin for a few months just so I could like serendipitously run into people, just so I can go to the free meetups and be around people, because you just never know. So it's not like it's something that you have to wait for I have this amount of money or I'm this far along. It's how you get that far along is to be in those spaces.
I mean, if you're not inspired like by Arlan's story, I mean, I would love for you to, I mean, literally going from homeless not even a decade ago, a decade ago.
Yeah, it was September of 2015 was when I stopped living at the airport. So less than 9 years ago? I can't even do the math right now. I think it's like 8 years and 3 months.
And you have to, I mean, share, like, if you could take us back for the audience that hasn't heard a little bit about your story, just a high level of how did you go from being at that point to what's like the quick version of your success story?
I was in my mid-30s, was still struggling, just trying to figure things out. But I knew that I wanted to start this fund because I had originally thought about starting a company. And to be fair, like, I wasn't passionate about the company. It was like, I just want to start a company because I want to, right? But then I realized, like, most venture funding doesn't go to me, Black gay woman in this country, and all of my friends and all of my peers. And so then I said, well, what if I instead of trying to raise $1 million for my company, what if I tried to raise $1 million to invest in a few companies that were like me? The founders were like me. And so that kind of started everything. And then it took like 3 years to get my first 25,000. And I just struggled because I had been struggling before. I think some people think that I like was doing okay. And then I said, let me do this. And then I went for it. And I put my stuff in storage. And no, there was no storage. There was no to put your stuff away. You know, it was like, I'm actually just sleeping on the floor of the San Francisco airport because I didn't want to sleep on the ground. I'll tell you this, like, I don't talk about this too much, but I decided to stay at the airport because I didn't have anywhere to go. And I didn't want to sleep outdoors because I thought that would break my spirit to a point that I don't think I could come back from. And maybe I could have, but that's the conversation I had with myself. I was like, if I can at least be indoors and there are people around me and I feel safe, then I can keep trying. So as bad as it was, and it was bad, believe me, especially for a germaphobe, really, really bad. But as bad as it was kind of like the lowest point I could get without just like giving up.
Wow. I mean, I honestly don't even have any words besides, it's so incredible. Your story is so inspiring, and you are not just going to have Carlos actually just brought out tissue for me. He's like, he knows she's gonna start tearing up. He knows it. No, I feel like the story still every time makes me, it just, all of the goosebumps rise up, and it is inspiring. And I hope it leaves you super, super inspired, because there's no way, like, literally even being at the bottom, there's like nowhere else to go but up.
Yeah.
So even wherever you are stuck or you feel you're stuck, and it could be whether you're, in that early phases of the business, the midpoints of the business, and it could even be you're at the million, even at that point, still look up, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's important to keep looking up. And that's where I'm at right now. Like, I feel like I've achieved a lot in my life, but there's so much left for me to go. Like, Sal and I talk all the time, like, of, what are we supposed to do? We're like in our 30s, like what are we supposed? We're like, we have to go build another company. Like, what else are we going to do? And this time around, and it's not about the freedom of dollar anymore. And that's incredible to be able to have that. And we can talk about this so much of what the freedom of dollar means. And I'm sure that's in your book. Like, it's not about the money in the bank account. It's the freedom that comes with it.
That's the book. Yeah. It's options, freedom.
It's freedom. But once you even check that off, like, there's other freedoms, right? And as you can it's freedom of time. Mm-hmm. That's also super important. And recently I've been seeing a lot of in my freedom formula, I call it the freedom formula, it's freedom of influence. And I actually never thought that, like, I do feel like your voice does carry power, and that you can influence in the right way. And I want to shape the world to the way that I believe that the world should be shaped. And if we look around the world right now, there's currently no women at the top in the world right now, whether it's politics, whether it's, the number of women CEOs, all the things. And I 100% believe that the world would look differently if leadership looked differently as well. But that's not just going to happen through freedom of dollar. It will also come with your influence. And that didn't really check in for me until last year, where I felt, or it was 2 years ago that we hit the billion milestone. I ended up exiting the company. I sold the company. I sold parts of the company. So I still am a huge owner in Stack. So it doesn't mean that I'm a billionaire selling the company. But we did really, really well, and we made 30 millionaires, and we wrote over 200 checks in the hundreds of thousands for our team.
That's so
and
cool.
So we made hundreds of millions of dollars for our investors. Lots of wealth created, all the things that you want to do as a founder. But I felt like this component of this influence piece, and I'm like, we do have a superpower, and we are one of the first. We are the first of our kind to do what we're doing, and it is important that people like us have voices in the room. And I believe that for all of us. And I think that the freedom, I think that's how I've tapped into these 3 parts of freedom now, of why am I'm not chasing. I just want to ensure I live my life with all of the freedoms.
Mm-hmm. You have a certain aura about you today.
Really?
That's different than a year ago.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I've been well rested for a year
yeah,
too.
because you're not running this multi.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like a confidence and a
confidence.
Yeah, it's like a sureness in self.
Thank you for pointing that out. And I will say it's also because I don't have anybody also telling me no.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what, even as I was running the company, I still reported into investors and boards and all the stuff. And it was
don't
great.
call it board for no reason.
And now I sit on boards too. So no, I'm on boards of companies. But it's accountability, and it was critical, and it's really important. And I do believe that there is the path for that. But also when you uncap, you kind of have a magic wand when it comes off. And now I've done the things. I think the difference that you're feeling in my energy is I had something to prove before. And so I always walked into a room without knowing it, without whatever, of I have something to prove, because I didn't have anything on paper, right? Or accomplished, or here's my resume, here's my credentials. But I do think that what this has allowed, it's not that I needed to prove myself before, but I think that's just how I am as a person. You have that chip on the shoulder. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that that chip is gone. I don't need to prove myself to anyone anymore. And now I realize that. And I wish I knew that. I did not need to have an exit or raise the cat, do all the things that we did, the fortunes for it, all the stuff did not define who I was. It was the mentality. But when I now got to let go of that mentality, I don't need to prove myself. And if I could give that advice to wherever you're starting off, you're not doing this. Don't do it to prove anything to anyone. There's a nice fire that I had because, you kind of want to give that, where I had old bosses that didn't believe in the idea. I pitched the idea to them. I had 1 million investors say no. So you have that, some of that fire is good in your belly, but really check in with yourself on your why. It needs to go beyond that. It should be for that why, that greater reason, because you don't need to prove it for anybody else. And I kind of wish I knew that earlier. So that's the difference. That's the difference. Oh my God, I love this conversation. Arlan, okay, so we're gonna listen to the book. I can't wait to get my hands on it. And then we're gonna all be at your First Million Live. Yes. I will be speaking. I'm super excited to be there and just bring all of this energy to all of the people. And I'm just super excited. What's all the things that are happening? Give me an update on if people want to you obviously also have a fund. So we never got to talk about Backstage Capital, how
it'll be first of all, Backstage will be in full effect at the event.
Yes.
So a lot of representation, a lot of our founders will be there. We'll talk about it on stage. It's all there. If you go to yourfirstmillion.live, okay, that's where you can get a ton of information.
Okay, great.
A lot of stuff. And also don't forget to use CEO School for a deep discount.
For a deep discount.
Because you're friends with Suneera.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Always a pleasure. I will continue the conversation with you.
Yes.
Always and forever. Thanks so much for being back on the show today. I'll be at the conference, and I know our audience genuinely, I loved today's show, so I know they love today's show. And if you love today's show, screenshot it, tag us on Instagram, share all the things. Arlan and I are both, it's Arlan Was Here is her handle. You know where to find me at Suneera Madani. And leave us a review. That's how we grow. This show only grows with you. And I'm so honored to be a voice in your ear every single week. And I'm just feeling all the feels right now. So I'm gonna go and use these tissues up. But I'll see you guys next week at CEO School. Thank you for tuning into today's show. If you loved it, leave us a review. We are so proud to bring you authentic conversations, game changer expert guests, and valuable content on and offline. The best compliment you can give us is by screenshotting today's show and tagging us on Instagram at CEO School and at Suneera Madani. We are obsessed with swag, so don't be surprised if we want to send you some. Thanks for tuning into class today, and remember, nothing bad happens when women make more money.